This is a presentation of the Esoteric Astrology podcast. This is a preview of my upcoming class on the phases of astrology and the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot and how these two systems are indelibly linked. This is a bit of a teaser of the face Libra 3, which is the final face of Libra. The triplicity ruler for this face is Jupiter, and the Chaldean ruler is Mercury. The Golden Dawn card is called Rest from Strife. And if you want more information about what those things are, you'll want to enroll in this class. Okay, traditional imagery for Libra 3. So there are three main sources that I use for the information about these faces. Each one of these texts has a often slightly different or sometimes very, very different description of an image that is related to these faces. Abu Mashar relates, in the third face of Libra ascends the following part of the sea dragon and the complete ship, and a naked man called Ariadne, reclining and putting his left hand on his head, it being already supported by his right hand. And there ascends the crown of Ariadne, and it is above the head of the animal driver, both of their heads having two crooked horns, one of them above the other, they being called Ballista and Adonis. The Indians claimed that in this face ascends a man whose face resembles the face of a horse. On him is a scabbard, and in his hand is a bow, and arrows already nocked on the bow. And he is in a thicket, wanting to hunt, and sits alone, meditating on things. Agrippa, who is Henry Cornelius Agrippa, tells us in the third face of Libra ascends a violent man holding a bow, and before him a naked man, and also another man holding bread in one hand, and a cup of wine in the other. The signification of these is to show wicked lusts, singing, sports, and gluttony. The Picatrix, an Arabic text of the Middle Ages, writes, in the third face of Libra ascends a man riding upon an ass, and a wolf is before him. This is the face of evil works, sodomites, adultery, songs, rejoicing, and flavors. This is its form. Strange imagery. Mashar's imagery is particularly odd because he refers to Ariadne as a man. Ariadne was a queen, the wife of King Minos, who had a contraption built for her to enable a bull to copulate with her, after which she gave birth to a minotaur. Apparently, in his works on the faces, Tusser of Babylonia describes two heads, both with horns. This may be suggestive of the minotaur. Ariadne fell in love with Theseus, to whom she gave thread before he went into the minotaur's labyrinth. He was then able to extend the thread through the labyrinth, kill the beast, and then follow the thread back out. Mashar also mentions Adonis. Adonis was fought over by Aphrodite and Persephone. Both were in love with the young man. The feud between the two goddesses finally required Zeus to step in and create a custody plan, by which his time was split between Persephone, Aphrodite, and time to himself, not unlike the agreement that was reached for Persephone herself with Demeter and Hades. The Picatrix describes a man riding upon an ass, and a wolf is before him. This is the face of evil works, sodomites, adultery, songs, and rejoicing and flavors. This description is fairly accurate to the mythology of Dionysus. The bread and wine held by the man in Agrippa's description are implying transubstantiation, theophagy, or the eating of the flesh of the god. This practice was continued in Christianity but has its origins in the cults of Dionysus. Adonis and Dionysus are functionally nearly identical in mythology. Balance in the midst of chaos. The imagery of this face is dominated by debauchery, not always explicit, but in some images we also see saints or holy people. Machar describes a man whose face resembles the face of a horse. In his hand is a bow and arrows already nocked on the bow. He is in a thicket, wanting to hunt, and sits alone meditating on things. Again, a very strange image, a heavily armed hunter in a thicket who sits alone meditating. It's a very strong dichotomy, debauchery and meditation. This territory, like Gemini 1, is ruled by Jupiter and by Mercury. In Mercurial Gemini 1, there was a strong potential for becoming bound up by too many possibilities, too much cerebral activity. In Libra, Venus rules and Saturn is exalted. In their extreme archetypal presentations, this can become Venusian hedonism on one hand and Saturnian asceticism on the other. Neither Mercury or Jupiter are opposed to hedonism or asceticism in principle. These archetypes can still pursue their goals within these extremes, and they can learn about themselves in the process of indulgence, until such a time as they lose internal balance, lose sight of ethics, or abandon their own goals and priorities. Excess, over time, erodes our judgment, to say the least. Austin Coppock, in his teaching, uses the example of the drunken master, a person who does indulge himself to extremes, yet maintains an incredible level of competence. His body is loose and supple, his mind empty of excess ambition or inhibition, free of any concerns that would cause tension and binding. The Rider-Waite-Smith Four of Swords. This card shows what appears to be a mausoleum or tomb within a church, a scene of a tomb with a likeness or effigy of a prone, kilted, and long-haired man with his hands in prayer position, carved into the stone of the coffin. This is a fairly typical treatment of a medieval knight or other prominent royal figure, but this man is not depicted in full armor, nor does he have the trappings of a priest. Waite describes the figure as a knight in the attitude of prayer, with the theme being rest after conflict. There are 3 swords suspended above the figure, pointing down toward him, and 1 sword depicted alongside him. Up on the left is a stained glass window with a standing motherly figure and another on their knees in front of her, in a supplicant position. We can take the words of Waite as the exoteric meaning. In effigy, Mercury and Jupiter rule. The Rider-Waite-Smith card depicts an effigy, not a corpse. This figure memorialized someone who's passed. Those who are memorialized may be heroes, or they may be simply wealthy people who want their names or members of their family to be remembered. As we experience the museum-like quality of this type of memorial, we can contemplate life in the distant past. This is a Saturnian concretization of an ancient image. We cannot know who the person we see memorialized truly was unless we knew them personally. This card has a powerful sense of otherworldly serenity, with a certain creepiness that one finds in church tombs. This concept is foreign to us, belonging to the deep past, when there was a radically different relationship to death, and how we memorialize individuals compared to current practices. Remembering the courage and sacrifice of our ancestors can provide an example to follow in their footsteps. Only death truly liberates us from strife, but contemplation and cultivation of inner stillness can relax the nervous system, which all archetypes have say in, but Mercury especially rules the nerves. Jupiter wants to expand and uplift. This territory has strong implications of excess and debauchery. Too much of a good thing that sometimes follows Jupiter in Venus's space. Inebriation and other forms of escapism can grant temporary respite from things that may vex us. Sometimes that is all we need to find the strength and courage we need to carry on, but seldom are these things able to fix anything. the degree of exaltation of Saturn. There are 3 possible exaltation degrees for Saturn. One is 15 Libra, another 19, directly opposed to the Sun's degree of exaltation, Aries, or 21 Libra. I am using 21 degrees of Libra. 21 is the number of the World card in Tarot, which is Saturn's card. The figure in this card is a dancing naked woman in midair with a snake-like wide ribbon of some kind wrapped loosely around her. She is in motion, possibly dancing with a baton in each hand. She is framed with an almost ovoid wreath that appears to be woven. In each corner of the card is a symbol of the fixed astrological signs. In the upper left is an Aquarian androgynous head. The bottom left is a head of a bull. In the bottom right is the lion. In the upper left corner is the eagle, one of the symbols of Scorpio. This figure is highly suggestive of the Greek Phanes, Protagonus or Ericapius, except this is a female with no apparent hermaphroditic genitalia. These are epithets of Saturn and of Dionysus. The World card is unmistakably a rendition of the Orpho-Dionysian god Phanes, the self-generating hermaphrodite. This is an extremely clear nod to the mystery tradition, specifically Greek Orphism. The wreath here is a zodiac, and the symbols of the fixed zodiacal signs are emerging from the figure's midsection rather than sitting around the outside in the corners, as in the tarot card. The woven wreath suggests the pattern on the top of the Dionysian thyrsus, or the sacred ritual staff, which may be an acorn. The symbol of Zeus is an oak, and the infant child of Zeus is chthonic Dionysus, or Zagreus, the seedling of the oak. Putting an overtly female character in this position is possibly a reflection of the Theosophists' embrace of exoteric or esoteric feminism, as well as the need to hide and obfuscate imagery and its origins. As this card clearly invokes the Orphic tradition, we need to continue to look for covert symbols hidden in these cards. And here we have the World card next to a Roman tile mosaic showing Dionysus, or the god Ericapius, or Phanes, or Protagonus, all epithets of this same character, who also might be Saturn, might be Dionysus. Below, presumably, we see the children of Dionysus, or Phanes, or Saturn, Kronos, and the mother of these children, who is presumably some kind of earth goddess. And Phanes, or Protagonus, is standing within the zodiac. The severed head. So we see these severed heads in the card of the world, the 4 representative heads of the fixed signs of the zodiac. Now, the severed head gives us another nod to Orpheus. The severed head of Orpheus was said to have washed ashore on the Isle of Lesbos, where it was miraculously still muttering prophecies long after the death of the hero. Orpheus was said to confirm the divinity of Dionysus and embraced his mystery tradition. The severed head of John the Baptist was also a central icon, belonging to a prophet who confirmed the divinity of the God-man.